music, Minoan Crete or Keftiu, worship of the sun, the fire, earth, wind, the sea, the trees, the rocks, the old civilization on Crete, Mediterranean and East Mediterranean, the largest island in the Eastern Mediterranean. Called themselves Keftiu, called themselves Keftiu, Keftiu, Keftiu. But they are no more. The present-day population of the island of Crete is mainly of mixture of Old Minoan and Hellenistic, Archaic, or the Indo-European tribes that have invaded Crete, and then naturally later on the Turks that dominated here for 400 years. And maybe some Venetians, merchants who were masters of the island for 100 years or 200 years, since 1200. 1200. They were granted the use and exploitation of the island by a meeting in Constantinople, because they were rewarded for lending their ships for a crusade that was planned to happen 1200 AD, but never materialized because the knights and adventurers and professional soldiers that went to the Holy Land got impatient, and because they wanted to loot and kill, and it took somehow too long to get down along the coast of Italy. So they, ravaged some cities on the Italian coast, and then, the impulse, the spiritual impulse to save the Holy Land was lost, and crusade was called off, was cancelled. Cancelled the crusade was the parole of that time. But the Venetians protested because they were promised a large, rewarding money, gold or whatever. And they demanded it from the church, who was the sponsor, let's say the ideological motivator for the crusade. And then in a church kind of meeting in Constantinople, they were granted the use of the island of Crete. And they destroyed it very much here, because there used to be beautiful woods here everywhere, cedar woods, I guess, and they harvested it all for the building of ships. And since the time, Crete never recovered its shady, watery paradise, surface. But we are talking about later times, like 2000 years or more, exactly 2400, after the downfall of the high Minoan or Keftio civilization here in the Eastern Mediterranean, because it flourished between 3000 BC to 1200 BC. And after 1200 AD, it came into the hands of Venetians and later the Turks. The Turks were fighting the Venetians for domination. You see the fortresses of Rethymnon and Heraklion are Venetian fortresses. The Turks have won after all because there were too many. And then till the 19th century, Crete was occupied by the Ottoman Empire, also partly by Egyptians. And then finally, the second half of the 19th century, the cultural heritage of Greece became so important in the minds and the souls and the education of West Europeans like the French and the British and the Germans, that they felt obliged to free Hellas, their home of their reasoning power and philosophy and Plato and stuff like that, Socrates and Sparta and Athens, that they waged war against the Ottoman Empire, and he freed Greece to become an independent again, and including Crete. But this is very, very much later than what we are interested in. We are interested in the phenomenal experience of life in the time of the original Keftio culture, the Minoan culture, some in its flourishing time, some 2000 years BC. The oldest high culture, complex culture on the continent of Europe, yeah. A lost possibility, truly a lost Atlantis. Because the way of life, phenomenal experience, motivation for the motion of the body, and that means for work, for dance, for travel, for sailing, was completely different from the motivation of the barbarians from the north and east that successfully destroyed the Eastern Mediterranean high cultures. That's why we immerse into the Keftio music, as it was played in the temples, but also in their homes. And the various local places of worship. For what? No, for the elements. For water, sun, earth, the moon, fire, rain, and they had the motherly idea of this motherly image of all these elements. It was the mother of life. Without water, without the sun, without the earth and fire, and even without the stars and the moon, there would be no life on earth. And they felt it very intensely, and so they worshipped the Mother Gaia, and they called it the Great Mother, Mother of Life. And they felt also that the proper worship of an elementary power is to sing to it, play to it, dance to it in ecstasy. Because the Mother, the Great Mother of Life, is drawn to an expression of life, in an ecstatic, totally devoted, totally open. Devotion in this sense means not bowing your head in front of some extraterrestrial monotheistic monster god who is going to control you, total control, no? Measure you and then reward you or punish you. It was a completely different kind of worship. It was the stretching of your arms to the body of your great mother, without fear, without fear of evaluation, because all was as it was, and all was necessarily so as it was. The mother had love for her child, the anthropos. So century after century went, from 3000 BC to 1200 BC, and it was felt like thousands of years, like hundreds of thousands of years of our time, because the flow of time at that period of childish garden of Atlantis and the loving mother, the time mostly dropped only like honey. It is still here, and those rocks on the shore, meaning the abundant November shores of Crete, especially the south coast, when, like this year, the sun is still full in power and the sea is warm. That it is still here, vibrating in the depths of the rocks and the ocean and the sun and the stars. And becomes stronger and stronger as the angry children of the barbarian tribes that destroyed this beautiful gem of Eastern Mediterranean cultures today get completely crazy and want to destroy the whole planet. All the West Europeans and East Europeans and Americans and Canadians and the Australians are the children of the blood crazy horse riding nomadic tribe, warrior tribes from the steppes, flat pastures of Asia between Ural and the Baikal Sea, Indo-Europeans. So the Great Mother, which is the software cloud of all the souls of mountains, trees, ocean, wind, stars around the planet Earth, the depth, the lava hot heart of the mother planet, a living organism. They have a very slow transformation of the body if it is left naturally to grow, an embracement with the sun and the cosmic forces, and due to the gardening and beautifying motions of her children, the old Minoans, the Keftio, the old Celts in Europe, maybe the old Slavs in Eastern Europe, definitely the Aborigines in Australia, the original indigenous cultures in South and North America, Africa. They all hear this calling. The mother loves her children and lives in her bones and organs and their breath in their eyes and the images and emotion of their souls. And if you want to listen to her, you have to be very attentive and slow and to embody the love of the mother now. The children have to get passive to dissolve the ego. Don't jump with your egoistic consciousness to infer about the meaning of what is happening. It is happening necessarily. As Krishnamurti says, don't try to understand cognitively what I'm saying. Just feel the sound, vibration, see the images. And also passively watch and notice the waves of your soul. Is it one unity with the breath of the mother, the sun, the waves of the sea, the sound in your ears of the sea below your temple here? Unite their soul, their morphing spatial fields with your organs, stomach and liver and lungs and kidneys, brain, all organs that have a kind of spheroid hollow shape are filled with dancing reflection of the golden sun on stones in the sea close to the shore. The harp, the Minoan lira, and the modern shape of a guitar rests with its neck but attention, I mean the passive wandering of the soul of the initiatee who listens to that music. And let's now fast forward in our phenomenal way, in our Akashic record way, our reading from the emotional and pictorial super-individual memory of Mother Earth in her soul to our 19th century, it became obvious that the children of the barbarians from the Asian steppe spread all around Europe pyramids built for forming various nations like the French, the Spanish, the Portuguese, the Danish, Italians, and the Slavs in the east also. In the north, the Norwegian Vikings and Nordic tribes of the Indo-Europeans. The great empires in the Sahara Sea belt of Persia and Mesopotamia and Persia have vanished. Egypt also declined. After 4,000 years of continuously growing slowly, listening to those half man, half animal gods of Egypt, Isis, Osiris, Sekhmet, Amun, Now the time has come in the 19th century where the rational, analytical, warrior type, will to power, penetrating sword and arrow of the Indo-European tribes have materialized in technology, control of the mother. They have excavated her body, torn it away from the unity of elements. They have homogenized it in their factories under great pressure, fire, chemically polished and then mechanically pressed and heated and pressed to shape the rockets and the tanks and the weapons and the knives and the spoons and the cars. And we are preparing to squeeze the mother Gaia completely and make her to products and sell it all for money, which the money was a kind of sideshow of brotherly kind of ideologically related group of tribes in the Mediterranean that came from who knows where, the Semitic tribes. They were not original here in the Eastern Mediterranean. And they were similar to the Indo-Europeans, the nomadic warrior tribes from Asia, some 2,000-3,000 years BC, that they had a model of the world like a pyramidical power of chain of command, from the highest power, the Yahweh, the creator and the destroyer, like the Shiva of the Indians, who are also Indo-Europeans. And they pursued and kind of spiritual and ideological software domination of the planet Gaia through ideology, through the idea of their own fantastic story that they are selected by this individual greatest chieftain, the most powerful warrior in the heavens, to bring his message and get all the resources under his control. All the body of the mother. So these were compatible metaphysics. So the warriors of the Asia and the speculative thinkers of the Semitic tribes have joined together to make a European culture and spread it all over the planet and subdue all other mother children, the Aborigines, the Red Indians, the Incas and Aztecs, of whom the Aztecs was a separate story. They also had their paranoia of the sun god for whom they have to kill. Whenever pyramids rise, they embody this warrior kind of chain of command metaphysics from the top to the bottom. At the bottom there are many who have to obey. At the top there are few who command. Whereas the Minoan old Cafetian architecture was always horizontal, with lots of their palaces, knossos, phaistos. They were beautiful terraces. It was large area with lots of rooms and a lot of terraces and water flowing through, water rails and lots of green and oranges and colors. It was a small true paradise because it was a culturally tuned garden, architecture, music, beautiful dresses and colors, and above all a phenomenal experience of it all, which was deep, passive, admiring. In the 19th century, in Germany starting and then in France and England, Romanticism tried to raise the Kikeon, the initiation cup of the Eleusinian mysteries, once more. Keats, Goethe, some of them got, really deep on a trip, like Coleridge, using psychotropic plants to see the unity of their soul with the soul of the mother. as it was done in the Eleusinian Mysteries, no? And Eleusinian Mysteries are a heritage of Minoan mother celebrations. But the power of the analytical reason, the power which separated itself from the biological bedrock of life and became egoistic and pathological, pushed Europe into more and more wars and faster production, automation, automated production and automated mechanical killing. So the voice of the romantic poets was either forgotten or it was transformed to make more money in the so-called entertainment industries, which with Nietzsche is a kind of expression of the so-called romantic pessimism. You can read about it in the Ephesians 370, in Gaia Science, the joyous science. Instead of passively opening the soul field to listen and wait for the embracement of the mother, they have gone into an egoistic, forced kind of rapture of the ego for a short moment due to strong body perception, strong sound, fast movement, huge scenery, bloody scenes and existentially kind of extremely pointed, dramatic action. This is romantic pessimism. Hollywood completely, everything. Today it reached already a digital kind of virtual reality torture and slashing and pressing of the soul of the spectator with violent, fast and loud images. As Nietzsche has diagnosed, everything happens necessarily. The souls of the 20th century man, and today even worse, they are no more capable. They do not hear the simple, natural, everyday, every place call of the mother, Gaia, the wind, the colors, the shapes, forests, meadows, that are always continuously and slowly merging with the soul of a traveler, of a farmer, craftsman, poet, even a sportsman who goes for an expedition without tempo, without a plan. That is also, there is a revival of this, because at the end of the epoch, paradigm change, sensitive individuals feel something is very, very wrong. They are losing life force. They are losing the embracement of the mother. So some of them disappear into a silent distance and wait for the cleaning of the soul passively. We don't know about them, but they are the true sons of the mother again and daughters. The loud ones that demand that it should be done and endlessly criticize the downfall, the decadence with high-pitched voices and fast speech. They are not the true sons and daughters of the mother. But they are also necessary. They are the romantic pessimists. Need a strong slash of a vision or musical doof doof doof, or an enormous tapestry of fast action and apocalyptic violence to be shattered, to feel the last drops of life. We have to accept Nietzsche's wisdom that the deepest wisdom, living wisdom, the deepest wisdom, arrives on the subtlest legs or feet, like a spider's legs, without big introduction, without big sound and color and tempo and Hollywood kind of chocolate around. So for those who feel this calling of the mother, there is a possibility to return into her arms in a passive, everyday listening to her and expressing the feeling of love and unity, which is not forced, it must be honest. Dissolving the romantic, pessimistic ego, the warrior ego, the ideological ego of the one God somewhere power, or even his modern transformation, the money now. The money is the one God power of modern times. Because it is omnipresent and all-powerful and completely abstract. Exists only in the ideas of man. Where is the mother? The planet, the winds, the fires, the storms, the waters, grows around us continuously every moment. Slowly, but with enormous force, for which the whole epoch of man, be it 1 million years or 2 million years, is just one stretch of her beautiful shoulders towards the sun, running around the sun in the dance of silent embracement. Are the narratives about the creation or the appearance of man, of us, of the human anthropos on this planet. What is his special ability compared to plants and animals and clouds and the fire and the wind? He can feel them all intensely, deeply, and he can name them. He can take care of them, understand, wisdom, celebrate and admire. Instead of running like a crazy horseman and killing everything what he reaches until there is nothing, and then move on to some untouched territory where he does the same. This was the mental frame of the Indo-European warrior tribes, nomadic. And we, as Europeans today, cannot simply ignore that we have their tradition in our bones. After we have been forced to stop at the shore of the Atlantic Ocean for some, when was it now? Middle Ages, we were sitting here in Europe that we have completely conquered and destroyed via the various empires. Since our arrival, the Greek Empire, the Roman Empire, the Franco and British Empire, and Danish and whatever, Vikings and French. But there were navigation was not possible, ships were not so capable, weapons were not ready, ideology was not spread strongly, so we had to wait until all this was invented in the early Renaissance time. Gunpowder, printing press, ship and navigation machinery. But the training was very strong. The training was to compress the speculative force of reason into little rooms in the monasteries of Europe, where men of, troubled yet sharp intellect were asking themselves impossible questions. How is this complicated and transient, confusing world of reality to relate to that one God, abstract, far away, creator, organizer? It was a whole European koan, an impossible question. To find the answer, to solve the problem of something which does not exist. But it was better than to, continue the nomadic warrior style we were used to live in Asia. With a permanent war. And it was almost 50% of Europe was in permanent war, and it's like 40% was farming and enabling, the warriors to eat and the horses to feed and to get the metal and leather for the armor and swords. Like 1% or less was playing the rulers, the kings and the nobility, supported by the armies and violently oppressing their own population. And maybe 7% were thinking very hard in the monasteries how it all relates to the concept of one God. And it took almost 1,000 years since the fall of the Roman Empire till the beginning of Renaissance that this koan, this yoga of willpower, this torture of abstract thinking, was released. The koan was not solved because it is unsolvable, but it was abandoned. Happily shouting ran the monks from the monasteries and became explorers of this world, not the abstract world of the Creator. Finally, all this compressed willpower to understand and to control, basically, was thrust onto the empirical reality of ships, of navigation machines, printing press, weapons, and slowly coming then chemistry from alchemy and on and on. So the great waiting was over. Thousands of adventurers violent, sometimes the criminal men, got on the ships and sailed away to the new horizons. Greedy and proud, and weapons of destruction and ideology that made them supreme, at least in their own persuasion that they are supreme. They were supreme in technology and in production of ships, construction of ships and weapons. But they were updating it in their souls to supremacy of idea, because our God is the only one, and He gave us this mission, a simple projection for your action if you want to be covered by a stronger older brother. And my brother told me that I can do this, I must do it actually. And this went on through Renaissance and Age of Reason, then Enlightenment. As you have said, the Romantic period, some, at least representatives, felt this is very wrong. They tried to return back to the passive admiration of nature. Wordsworth, very good. Ralph Waldo Emerson, even Edgar Allan Poe, who had this touch of madness in him, but nevertheless his keen sense for beauty of nature was there. Philosophers came who tried to understand it. Phenomenology was born and later Husserl, Heidegger. Nietzsche was before disclosing all this as a fake morality, but necessary. Diagnosing the decadence of the European races and explaining all the religions and science and art as a necessary expression of this decadence, is a kind of remedy for the moment. Expanding the sphere of influence over everything while losing the roots of life inside the single individual body and soul. That's why everybody is shouting. Nobody knows who is real, who is faking. Deep Purple have a bunk song. It's just like everybody is shouting out loud. Nobody knows who is real and who is faking. Like the rock bands of the 67 to 73, they were another revival of this romantic impulse to listen to the simple things and sing about them and enjoy the melody enjoy the vision which is growing in the poet's mind. That also this was then commercialized and turned into cacophonic noise and computerized today to this artificial, monstrous sound. Ludwig Lagers, my favorite philosopher, from him comes this original idea that it was the Renaissance that was that inherited the thrust of the compressed willpower of the Middle Ages. The Renaissance was not a return to Hellas, to early Greece. It was a continuation of the torturing chamber of the analytical reason and even the torturing chambers of the Inquisition into modern times. No?